Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this is Many a True Nerd, and welcome back to Fallout: A Tale of Two Wastelands, where last time we gathered some of the most powerful weapons in the entire game and used them to bring down some of the game's biggest enemies. And today we're going to be exploring one of Fallout 3's most remote and mysterious areas, the northwest corner of the capital wasteland. And okay, there are a couple of really interesting reasons why most players never find their way to this area, but to start, you've got to remember something we discussed right at the start of this series. A fun fact that Fallout 3 developer Joel Burgess revealed sometime after Fallout 3's released, which is the map of Fallout 3 significantly expanded relatively last minute. Originally, Paradise Falls was going to be pretty close by to the northwest corner of the entire map, but they felt things were a bit too close together, so they had to expand the territory outwards. In many cases, this worked out just fine. Up in the northeast, for example, we've got Old Olney, the Republic of Dave, Oasis, filling out that corner nicely. Down in the southwest, we've got Girdshade, Tenpenny Tower, locations associated with that mission. Okay, no problem there in that corner either. And that's what makes the northwest corner of Fallout 3 so unique and interesting, which is, whether by accident or design, almost no quest stuff ended up in this bit of the world during the big location reshuffle, meaning, in simple terms, the game never tells the player to come into this bit of the world, whereas plenty of other corners, the game gives you missions, quest markers, etc, etc. This entire bit of the world, in fact, is basically left exclusively for the curious. The locations inside it, almost entirely small and self-contained mini-stories. So, how about we kick off by taking a look-see at a couple of locations that were flagged to me by a lovely helpful person in Arafu before I went and murdered them all. So, starting right here at Rockbreaker's Last Gas, just had, pretty much due north, and we are looking for the 5 Axles Rest Stop. Here we go, barely over the hill, just a handful of trucks, yes, all drawn together into a lovely defensive perimeter though. As you may guess from the chains on the trees, yes, the Raiders have now moved in, claim this is their base, but that's fine, because as you can see from the compass, they're all living in the back of the blue truck over there. So, just a couple of nuclear explosions should soften up those bastards, no problemo whatsoever. In fact, I'm pretty sure I just saw... there's definitely some movement, though there's also... Okay, there's also a fight going on between a hunter and a super mutant, because welcome to Fallout 3, where the wasteland is always bloody chaos. Just, nip in over here. Okay, they're definitely all alive for the time being, and there's the rest stop, just pop round the corner. Okay, 2 of them decided to just go back to sleep. One of them still awake for the time being. There's one crit, and it's going to take you guys a moment to get up, isn't it? Oh, well, life is just good, because it turns out I've got crit coming out the wazoo. So, just absolutely perfect right there. Appropriately for an area that is literally called Rest Stop, yes, this is just a quick stop on the journey, though the real thing of interest is right here at the back of, yes, this truck filled with tyres, we have got the partial CB radio backup. 2 fun things about this note here, which is, 1, it is the shortest holotape in the entire game.
Come again. Any truckers on this wave?
And 2, that's Emil Pagliarolo, one of the senior devs who made Fallout 3. He lent his voice to being a Boston trucker, as he himself is from Boston. One might also reasonably assume, as there is a skeleton here, that might be the in-universe Pagliarolo. Who bloody knows? One more curious thing too, which is, yes, as the tape is called Partial CB Broadcast, you might be wondering where the full version is. It doesn't exist in the game, though you can find it in the game's files. There is an extended version where that trucker gets replied to by another trucker, and they agree to bring their trucks together to form a defensive perimeter, hence explaining why these trucks are as they are. Though mysteriously, it cannot be found in the game. Okay, that's just a tiny Easter egg though. The real fun begins just up the road at Shalebridge. Oh, and on the way there, we just took out a bear, and that bear was just enough to knock me up to level 18. Lovely. And today, all of that is going into Lockpick. Alright, let's get that moving towards 100, and I've got something very specific in mind for that. Oh, and plain and simple, I do enjoy my VATs, so let's take some action, girl. Here we go, the glorious, exciting Shalebridge, and okay, I will forgive you if you've passed by this location before and completely ignored it, carried on your way. It just appears to be a handful of ants that attack you as you arrive. That's it. Beyond that, standard wasteland. But no. No, 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 no. In this location, there is a civilization that needs to be saved from a hostile aggressor. It's just, yes. On this occasion, the civilization isn't human. So you may notice in this area, we've got ourselves two distinct ant mounds. One over there, surrounded by a yellow fungus. One over here, surrounded by green mushrooms. Just, yeah. Nip downstairs into the Shale Bridge tunnels. And we have got ourselves, you may notice right here, just give anyone a quick scan, mutated forager ants. But crucially, in green. These ants are friendly. This is a friendly ant colony. They mean you no harm whatsoever. Unfortunately, they've got a bit of a problem. Here we go, just a mosey on through their base, and yes indeed. In red, we have got much larger invader ants, okay? This lovely peaceful society of tiny ants who cannot defend themselves are being attacked by some big stupid invader meanies. So that is not going to stand. Okay, that is unacceptable to me. We're going to deal with this problem using my beautiful hollow point ammunition. Leave them alone, you big damn bullies. Alright, have we got any more for any more? There are a few more invader ants over there. I'm not having it. Okay, you cannot stand up to my hollow point rounds, damn it. And, are you guys okay? Okay, I think they're fine for now. And you might think, okay, that's a fun thing, but no, this is only the beginning of a completely unmarked and unspoken quest. Have a look-see at any of the invader ants. It appears these ants are from another colony. Maybe attacking this rival colony would help the forager ants survive. But before we get to that, we've got to make sure we know what we're dealing with here. So yeah, just check out this lovely large ant egg pile that these ants were attacking. And not only can you, yes, go to war with these ants' enemies in order to help them along, you can also provide medical assistance to these ants, which is just, oh, it's beautiful. And unless your science or medicine is good enough, you can't do this. So okay, now I'm just injecting medicine into these friendly ants to give them a bit of a fighting chance. And the reason you want to do this is this lovely compost heap over here. Ignore the human skull. These are friendly ants. The guy was probably already dead. Because this compost heap right here is a source of ant nectar, which is a really bloody good drug. That's a lot of strength. Keep in mind that buff out is only +2. Okay, this ant nectar is way, way better. And this compost heap right here, the more you help out these ants, the faster it regenerates, okay? No one tells you this. You've just got to figure it out by yourself. There is just an entire non-speaking ant faction, and bloody hell, Fallout 3, I love you. Though you aren't the first person to, yes, stumble across it. There is, in fact, right here, an ant researcher. And we're going to work under the assumption that this guy was killed by the invader ants, not by my new ant friends. This guy can be slightly bugged. Sometimes he just comes back to life, and then he also regrows his big book of science. But we're not going to do that, because that would be breaking the laws of the universe. Yes, indeed. There they are. There are the bastards who are attacking my new ant friends. Let's go even the score a bit. I do rather like this tiny mini dungeon, by the way, because as you might expect for an ant colony, the tunnels are really low and really tight and whatnot. As you know, entirely appropriate for a society of ants. Obviously, at the end of the giant evil ant nest, you've got a giant evil queen. So, no, 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 no. How about one? We just see if we can, yes, maybe frenzy you a little bit. Get you to turn on your, there we go, frenzied. Oh yeah, she's definitely fighting someone who's not me, which is just bloody beautiful. Let's just keep that going by knocking her... Ooh. Can you knock down... You can knock down a queen, and okay. They've decided to turn on me after that whole situation. No, sorry, my bad. Just get you over again with your beautiful, beautiful Ghibli physics body. Okay, this is Ghibli physics even by the standard of Fallout 3. This is lovely. Right, just keep on keeping on. And down the rival queen goes. I have saved the first ant society I happened to stumble into. This is also an alternative source of ant queen pheromones if you want to use those back in Rivet City. And there we go. My best friends, the forager ants, have been saved because I came into their town, saved them from the immediate threat, then provided medical assistance and went and sorted out the rival faction for good so they can live in peace, which, I mean, I can't prove that this entire setup was basically like a light-hearted parody of dealing with a typical RPG town, but I like to think it is, damn it. Okay, leaving my ant friends behind, we're going straight from one unexpected faction to another, though, yes. Welcome, officially, to the northwest corner of the map, and you know you've arrived because the lighting does this. The warm yellow disappears. From now on, we've got this very harsh white light. Just to let us know, hey, you've kind of entered hell. Be aware there is going to be all sorts of nightmare monstrosities waiting for you hereafter. And yes, indeed, our destination is possibly the single most visible set of landmarks in this area. We're heading for the SATCOM arrays right over there. So, okay, let's mosey in that direction because depending on how Fallout 3 is feeling today, yes, we might be about to run into somebody rather unexpected. Here we go, getting nice and close, and yeah, all this feeds together into why this area generally is not heavily explored, which is the enemies are super nasty. The terrain gets way more rocky. It is literally harder to explore this area than down south, where it's a lot more open, and yes, the missions just do not pull you in this direction, but for the time being, we're doing okay, so alright, how about we just, yes, have a bit of a look-see inside this area. SATCOM array NW07C. Unremarkable name, but yes, this location is rather interesting. You see, the inside of this base is a bit of a funny old thing. Well-lit machinery appears to be functioning, we've got military-style lockers right here, and if you know this game well, you might know that yes, this is a building that can exist in a couple of different states. After you've done the Waters of Life and the Enclave have spawned into the Wasteland properly, this will be a stronghold filled with their soldiers. They will be all over this place. Come here before and it's pretty much empty. And I say pretty much because I don't know whether this is, you know, a bug, a random event, a probability, who bloody knows when it's Fallout 3. But if you get just a bit lucky, when you step outside and have a bit of a look-see round, by the way, there is a scavenger who lives under, yes, a fallen dish, which is pretty bloody cool, I'd say. Yes, you might just stumble across something really rather cool, which is the Enclave do not only appear after the Waters of Life. They mostly appear at that point, but you can, on occasion, get lucky and see a few of them spawn in before you've actually been formally introduced to them. Although on this occasion, that's just a bloody robo-brain. I thought we might have got lucky there, but no, we've just got a bloody robo-brain. Dear oh flipping dear, I thought you might be a bloody Enclave soldier. But yeah, these locations are super cool, because you can actually get right up onto the dish, and then you can use the dish as, like, you know, a sniping location. There's a sentry bot over there, don't need to worry about him. But yes, on occasion, an Enclave soldier will spawn as a result of you going through this tower and exploring it thoroughly. But on this occasion, I think, unfortunately, we've been unlucky. But that's fine. There is another location where I might be able to pick up some Enclave. And if you were curious, by the way, yes, once you're at that satellite array, you're barely round the corner from Raven Rock. Just follow the road north of that satellite array, and you can make it here. But yeah, it's just locked down. There are no guards outside or anything of that nature. Still, what we can do from here, given we're kind of on the high ground and, oh, well, we're passing by, don't worry about that second tower. You literally can't get inside it. There is no door, no anything. There is nothing there. It is just for show. Yes, from here, we can get onto the highway nice and easy, and there is something, you know, rather nice and chilling and Fallout-y to find on here, which is this truck just on the right. Not a marked location, but, yes, indeed, we do have a truck. Whole bunch of ammunition as well. And okay, giant pile of skeletons, nothing too remarkable there in the grand scheme of things. Pretty standard horrific Fallout scenario, but yes, there is actually a tape right here explaining who these individuals are. A private contract, official orders from Department of Defense, contractors' eyes only, under penalty of treason. In accordance with the Executive Order 99066, transport specified individuals to WRA Site PA32. Use of non-lethal force is authorised only when required to enforce the contract. Transport arrival is required by October 29th, 2077. present these orders to Chief MP at WRA site perimeter for admission and unloading. And if we just check the names, yes, this was the point where the US had started just rounding up everyone with a Chinese name, and obviously we know from previous episodes this was not doing the job. The Chinese had a well-infiltrated American society, taking on fake names, etc, etc. In fact, if the Americans are rounding up everybody who's just got a very distinctly Chinese name, it's almost certain that they've rounded up nobody but the innocent, because we know the spies took on American names. So basically, this is just a bunch of innocent people who were rounded up and then died in the back of this here truck. You might want to keep your head down in this bit of the world, by the way, because, yes, this area, the water under these bridges, is a hotbed of Mirelurk activity. And hunters are no bloody joke, so, yes, try not to get spotted, or they might come up onto the bridges and swarm you right there. But yes, indeed, our next destination happens to be pretty much due east, so how about we head on to bridge number 2? Because here's a fun one. We've got a lovely bright red truck right here, so just get nice and close to this, and in just a second, there we flipping go. The truck just sort of explodes. Why? Because this poor lad was, yes, doing an experiment he probably shouldn't have done. In particular, we've got ourselves, yep, conductors, laser weaponry, etc, etc. And hang about. The problem is, yes, the assets I'm looking for have been knocked around by, there it is, the mini nuke. This lad was doing experimentation into various energy and explosions, and honestly, given he was playing with a mini nuke, he was lucky to get away with an explosion that small. Still, bare minimum, gets us yet another big book of science, lovely. And a schematic too, though not the one in the base game. I'm pretty certain, yeah, the Molotov cocktail is cut content that appears to have been restored by the mod, so we've got that instead, lovely. It's just okay. That done, keep on keeping on straight to the east, because, as I say, that's where my next destination is. And this one, actually, I've got a map marker for. Because my lovely friends at Arafo, before I murdered them all, they told me about the Dickerson Tabernacle Chapel. Here we go, buddy. I see a chapel in the distance, just to make our way down. Yeah, in this bit of the world, you might not be able to travel as the crow flies. You might be stuck going around a little bit, and I think I see our destination right over here. A very fascinating, if unnamed man who hangs out in this here church. And I could wait for him to spot me, but I'd say, oh blimey. Okay, I'm pretty sure I just shot his gun, actually. Oh, he's a bit tougher than I thought. Okay, you know what? That's fine. He's going to pick his gun up again. That should give me a moment to get nice and up close. Hello there, Mr. Drifter, who lives inside this here church. Doesn't matter if I'm not doing damage, if I can just knock you down. That's all I really need to do. I'm pretty sure I've actually just broken his gun. I'm so sorry, this was supposed to be... There we go, Well, okay, there's a thing that's not supposed to happen in Fallout 3, but... Okay, something weird is going on, I don't understand what it is anymore. Hello, Mr. Drifter. I'm going to shoot you right in the head now, and yes, you might well recognise part of what he's wearing. This guy's got a bit of an interesting story to him, together with a whole bunch of unique stuff. So, yes indeed, Oasis Exile Coordinate and the Oasis Exile HUD. This guy used to live in Oasis. This is one of the ways you can get the location of Oasis without just stumbling across it at random. Plus, I shan't say no to some free combat armor or ammunition, but what he's really got that's rather interesting is the Reservist Rifle, one of this game's unique variants of a sniper rifle, and it is pretty bloody good. So just merge my sniper rifle into that to get it up to full strength, and lovely. Damage of 60, DPS of 240. Now, in terms of damage, that's not actually that impressive. It's the same damage as the basic sniper rifle. In fact, it's largely identical in every way, aside from actually having a smaller clip. Only 3 bullets instead of 5. So, what's the trade-off? The trade-off is, it's a lot faster to fire. So if I just try and fire that, there we go. That is lovely. That is a lovely fast fire rate next to normal. Though I will say, it is not the best sniper rifle in the game, not by a long shot actually. We might even be able to, yes, see that sniper rifle later this episode. We'll have to see. Oh, and here's fun, there's also some grave digging to do. So just grab a shovel, and we can start digging up some graves. And we do enjoy grave robbing. It's always a fun time to just, you know, do a bit of grave robbing in the afternoon. It's lovely. One might reasonably assume that yes, given some of these graves are super old, but some of them are very fresh, potentially yes, these ones are the people he's killed since he took up shop here, having been kicked out by Oasis. And I know what you're thinking, John, now you've discovered this guy, can you go to Oasis and ask about him? And unfortunately not. There is no way to ask anybody in Oasis about this guy. You just never know who he is, he just used to be there, and now he isn't. Anyway, destination the next is, yes, a rather big showy one further to the east. We're going over in that direction towards all those lovely big beautiful towers. Here we go, WKLM broadcast station, lovely. This is, if you will, the final boss of radio signals, because you can trigger a radio signal here, but as opposed to the others where, yes, you just go up to the bloody tower and tap a button that's right next to it, on this occasion, you've got to go inside the radio station itself, so just nip on inside. Luckily it is nice and calm in here. Just head over to the east wall, flick the switch, and there we go. Radio signal Kilo Bravo found. And the same rules apply as every other radio signal. If you're hearing interference, you're not standing in the right spot. If you're hearing the radio signal come through loud and clear, you're going in the right direction. So, okay, sort of southish seems to be doing the job here. Here she is, covered up by, yes, this little overcrop and rock here. One sealed cistern, and to my mind, this is the last of the ones that's actually worth paying attention to. There are actually a couple more, but they're just very generic bunkers to just hop into here. And, yes, indeed, what we've got of particular note is the explosives bobblehead. Lovely. So, 10%... Why do I want 10% less spread? No, I want 10% more spread. Well, okay, fine. It would stop me blowing myself up, I guess. So yes, one very heavily fortified bunker. Got a stealth boy here as well. Just turn off the signals. That's no longer floating around. And yes, I guess we just reasonably assume this was where the people in the station retreated after they couldn't keep broadcasting in their main building anymore. Now, there is also one location very nearby to here that I'm not going to be visiting today, and the reason is, like with that very first SATCOM tower we ran into, this entire bit of the map undergoes a bit of a transformation after a certain point in the game, that being the Waters of Life and the arrival of the Enclave. So as exciting and sexy as the Deathclaw Sanctuary sounds, we're not going to be going there today. There is in fact a very good reason to wait until the Enclave show up. Instead, if we could just work around the absolute bloody chaos that appears to just be... Oh, bloody hell. Okay, we got scorpions attacking bears over there. We've got more scorpions going after something in this direction. Army Robo-Brain is just dead as well. Oh, okay, this bit of the map just goes bananas. It's beautiful. What are you guys even attacking? I don't know, but you're attacking something, and you're weak enough for me to, yes, finish off without too much in the way of difficulty at this point. So, okay, this is all fine. What I want to get to ultimately is the remaining two SATCOM towers, because yes, indeed, each one is held by a different faction, which is kind of cool. They've all got something rather different and unique in them. Here we go, approaching satellite number 2, and in just a second... Yes, indeed. This one is the property of Talon Company, and I don't know what you're nuking, but you're nuking something. Two separate soldiers, both armed with missile launchers. Not flipping nothing, damn it. If you can just knock the missile launchers out of their hands, of course. I'm now being nuked, that's all absolutely fine. Strictly not nuked. And oh! I think you may have just... Oh, blimey! Okay, also I'm being attacked by a bear. I think the bear possibly was also being missile launched there. But I think he might have, yes, partly damaged his own friend there. I can use this here rock outcrop, and there we go. You've dropped your missile launcher. You'll pick it up again in a second, unfortunately. Okay, he's not picked his missile launcher back up, so I assume it's broken, and thus he can't... Oh, blimey, ammo is getting a bit on the old low side here. But yes, this array is very well guarded. Talon Company really bloody wants this, though. As I say, this is another area that can change ownership. Potentially if you... He got his missile launcher back, didn't he? Yes, he did. Oh, well, that's just... Well, that's just him being a dick. Okay, this time, there we go. Shot that guy right in the groin. I feel better about life having got some lovely revenge. And, oh my flippy goodness. What's that? Is that level 19 by any chance? Because if it is, okay, let's just put lockpick straight up to, okay, no I can't get to 100, but that's fine. Because 98 is A-okay with a hat on. It's a perception skill, it's not a problem. Then just tiny bit of medicine, keep on keeping on, because now I've got lockpick 100s. Just very quickly make sure we've tagged this location. Beautiful. Let's go get the real missile launcher. So, back to Rockbreaker's Last Gas, where we literally began the episode, and yes, do not forget, up on the hill, the small tiny shack we stumbled across before. Because yes, inside that shack there was indeed one very hard-locked container, and inside it, the victory rifle inflicts fatigue damage, which is a very boring way of saying this rifle has got knockback. No more damage than a basic sniper rifle, once again, though we are back up to 5 bullets per round, which is beautiful, but yes, just like my shotguns have got and stay back, the victory rifle has got knocked down too, and bloody hell, you've seen how good and stay back is. This is just that, but you know, long range, oh yeah, you're gonna be wanting this. Right, back to the satellite facility, and unfortunately, yes, unlike our first friend, this one's not going to be nice and empty. This one's gonna be guarded by some lovely, well, first things first, we've got a Wastelander, a ghoul in a lovely lab coat, so don't worry about her for the time being. She's hardly going to be our highest priority. We'll get back to who she is and why she's here in just a flipping second, though. Okay, turrets. I forgot there were also... Okay, turrets aren't great. Because turrets you can't really knock down a bloody hell. Fighting your way up this tower. Not the easiest thing in the world when there's bloody turrets everywhere. How about I just let some of them come to me? That sounds good. You've got... I thought that was a missile launcher, but no, it's all fine. Everything's under control. Aside from the fact if I step forward, I get shredded by a turret, and if I don't step forward, they just basically, yes, skirmish against me and fire down on me forever. This tower is not the easiest thing in the world to be dealing with, actually. Right, just wait for a good shot on you. If we're lucky, the crits will... Oh, that's got to be a crit, and their head goes flying. Just pick them off one by one. For long range, you can't go too far wrong with Lincoln's rip. Never mind, my leg's been crippled, so you can go a little bit far wrong. But that turret is just placed in a dickish position. There we go. Everybody's bloody dead, and yes, indeed, the fascinating Wastelander right here. So, you know, got ourselves some lovely coordinates for the other 2 towers if you need some help finding those, though to be honest, they're giant towers, it's not too difficult to locate them. But more importantly, the, to my mind, hilariously named High Water Trousers activation codes. The terminal, meanwhile, starts to paint the picture of what this woman was after. She took this location because, well, it's a giant satellite dish. She wanted to start scanning the skies. And apparently, she found what she was after. I pinged an orbiting body successfully today. Registration ID is US DOD 21TXH, callsign High Water Trouser. I'll begin tracking it and cross-referencing information with the data I've got. So, that's what she's after. She's trying to use this building for, presumably, what it was originally designed for, locating and communicating with satellites. And as for what the satellite is, a stationary micro-nuclear weapons platform, tracking data appears to confirm this. The thing hasn't moved in the week I've been tracking it. Without a targeting platform at my disposal, sending an activation code would only cause it to drop the payload directly on top of this area. Not immediately on top of you, though that might be the implication you get from the note. Instead, yes, just sort of nearby. So basically, as far as I'm concerned, we've got ourselves a fireworks display. So, just head upstairs, enter new positioning data. Unfortunately, yes, as per her notes, we can't do that. But, yes, what's kind of terrifying is how close she was to potentially having access to nuclear-armed satellite weaponry. And Fallout 3 does this quite a lot, actually. Like, on several occasions you just stumble across old world nuclear weapons that can, in theory, still be detonated. You've got the bomb in Megaton, you've got this weapon right here, and over the coming week or two, we're going to encounter another one as well. This happens a lot, and to my mind, yes, it's just a very good way of horrifyingly communicating, hey, in the pre-war world, there were weapons that could end the world just all over the place, and in the post-war apocalypse, they're still there, just waiting to be stumbled across by the first idiot who happens to get their hands on them. Still, for the time being, just upload the activation code. Marvellous. No targeting data, unfortunately, but if we just, yes, head upstairs and check out the... Oh! Hello over there. Sorry, was not expecting someone to still be living here. Still just need to, you know, line up a nice shot on the old head. Knock you over if I can. No, 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 no. Stop setting me on fire. Okay, he's just about to fall to his death. And there go the nukes. Basically, it's just, yeah, a big spray of nukes along this bit of the world. They're basically mini nukes, but, yes, significantly bloody larger. So anything that just happens to be standing over there, they just get absolutely flipping destroyed by a nuclear bombardment. Lovely. Here we go, nothing too exciting between me and the final array, though yes, I was kind of hoping we might run into the Enclave. This is one of those locations where potentially you can sometimes see an early Enclave camp spawning in, but once again, they've decided to be shy today. We're going to say the Enclave are hanging out with Junda's Plunkett. They're all having a party somewhere, and I'm not invited. And yes, as you might have guessed, the first tower being Enclave, the second being Talon Company, this one is indeed Raiders, and unlike the first one, where one of the towers was just for show, on this occasion, all three towers are actually legit. You can go and visit all of them. And if at all possible, I would love to knock down some people, and there we go. I think that was the knockdown right there. So she was just knocked off her feet by my shot, but she was not killed. So, oh yeah, there's the knockdown. That's just, oh, it's beautiful. And down goes the arm, and with it, the Raider. Lovely. So, okay. This is off to, I'd say, a good start, but there are 3 towers full of Raiders, so we're not quite, you know, there just yet, actually, now I think about it. It's also, and this does feel a bit odd, given, yes, this is the Raider Tower, not the one that's being held by an organised military force, by far the most complex of the 3 towers. So Tower B, you simply can't get into. The door is just locked away and nothing you can do, though you may notice, yes, one potential avenue of approach right there. Meanwhile, Tower, I think this is A, immediately next to B, you do have a door, which is absolutely lovely. Meanwhile, yes, over here, the third and final, here we go. Tower C, you can get in, but that one's going to take a little bit of lockpicking and or science. I'm pretty sure there's a terminal nearby somewhere. Lovely. And there is, of course, one other entrance to this area. Possibly the most infamous door, in fact, in all of Fallout history. I think you all know precisely what I'm referring to. So, yes, just head a little bit to the northeast, and just a flipping second when we locate the bastards. Here we go. Hidden down the cliff face, we have got a secret, awesome back door that gets you into this facility without having to take on the Raiders, fight through them, etc, etc. Absolute classic RPG, aside from the fact that no, it's not. It's just a concrete wall that says flip you on it. And okay, it's a good joke, but it's a joke with a story behind it, because this here was one of the last locations in the entire game that they actually finished putting together. And we know about this due to a 2018 interview given to Tech Radar by Joel Burgess, where he addressed the Flip U door. Basically, when they put the door in, the intention was not for it to be basically a giant flip U, very literally, to the player. This was probably going to be, you know, a real entrance to a secret basement. But then they forgot about it, and then only discovered it again during some form of playtesting or another, when the game was only a matter of weeks away from being, you know, done. So they didn't have time to create, you know, a basement, a secret tunnel, anything of that nature. There just wasn't the time to do so. So Joel Burgess came up with the idea of just saying, hey, how about we just write flip you behind the door and make it an Easter egg? Speaking of Easter eggs, okay, this area is just full of them. Alright, you can tell this was one of the last interiors they put together because someone was just having a whale of a time populating this raider base. There's just weird stuff all over it, like, say, a trio of missiles on top of this door, just sitting here, upright, which they blatantly shouldn't be. Get down there and obey the laws of physics, you bastards. And before we move on, that does remind me, while I was researching this video, I came across a really fun fact, which is, this is the handwriting of Nathan Perkypile, who worked at Bethesda for about 14 years, left in 2021, and his handwriting is this graffiti. In fact, his handwriting is all the graffiti in Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. He just turned his handwriting into a font that could be used to create graffiti, and Bethesda have just been using it ever since. So, if you look at the vast majority of graffiti in Fallout 3, 4, or 76, they all are written in the same hand. And it's this guy's, Nathan Perkypiles. Right, in we go, and just to be contrary, let's start off right here in Tower C, because I can crack this lock and no problem whatsoever. And naturally we're going to have, you know, a handful of raiders, but raiders are nowhere near as dangerous as Talon or Enclave, so this should not be the biggest problem in the world at all, just to get into cover, etc, etc. Though I will say, the raiders have definitely received a bit of an upgrade in this mod, because they are wearing much tougher armor. I mean, to be honest, yes, just by virtue of the fact damage threshold exists, they've got an upgrade off that. Their armor is much more effective than it used to be. There's nothing much upstairs, by the way, but yes, this tower does have something rather unique, which is, it's got a basement. None of the previous ones had basements, and on top of that, we've got ourselves, yes, what would appear to be, I assume, an attempt to create, like, dominoes out of beer bottles, if we can, come on, and... Okay, if I can just knock over one. Just knock over one. Knock over one! Okay, the dominoes aren't going desperately well, but clearly someone was attempting to set up dominoes, given there are toy cars and bottles right here. So someone at some point was attempting to set up dominoes, but not as well as, yes, the beautiful machine we saw next to Jura Street Metro back in the day. And the reason for the basement is, yes indeed, this is one of the ways you get into B. You can go underground via C or overground via A, which is just beautiful. And no, Stop running away while I'm trying to shotgun you, you bastard. Marvellous. We've also got a bunch of teddy bears right here, next to some drugs, and what happens if teddy bears do too much in the way of drugs? Well, the answer is yes, if we just, yes, go over to this boarded up area right here. Okay, it turns out the answer is you get a giant supersized teddy bear, which has just been locked into this tiny side room so that it can't get in anymore. Because, yes, there's just no end to the weird stuff in this area. Oh, and then there's the sporks. Someone's just decided to set up a huge number of sporks, perfectly balanced. Probably the same person who set up all of those missiles perfectly balanced. So if you just, yes, bump into those, the sporks go flying. So we've also got a giant number of sporks, because obviously, why wouldn't we have a giant number of sporks? And then, bloody hell, we're getting into ridiculous levels of detail here. There is a full cocking chess set that has been set up. So, yes, they basically taken existing assets and miniaturized them so they fit on a chessboard. So we've got, yes, I think that's whiskey or vodka as castle. Then we've got, hang on, the gnomes are supposed to be, yes, the pawns, I believe. I think if I take this. There we go. That gets most things in the right place. That kind of gets it to all fit. We've got, yes, whiskey and empty scotch as king and queen. Wine is the bishop. Looks like, yes, electron charge pack is the knight. And I think that's, is it vodka? Yeah, that's vodka. Is, in fact, the castle. The intact garden gnomes represent the pawns right there. So, okay, someone just had a lot of fun on this area, alright? Clearly, someone just had too much time on their hands at the end of development and decided to spend it creating a beautiful, shrunk-down chessboard for no good reason. This is also, of course, by far the easiest way to get a giant pile of garden gnomes. If you want a huge number of gnomes, here's by far the highest concentration of gnomes in the entire game. But I'll tell you what else it is too. It is, significantly to my mind, the best view in the entire game. Alright, you can see for bloody miles up here. That is, yeah, that's Tabernacle right there, where we got the reservist rifle. And even with the weather being a bit on the misty side today, you can also make out Paradise Falls over there. So basically, yes, the entirety of the world from there, which used to be the corner of the map, up to here and beyond, that was all just added in, and apparently populated in a bloody hurry in a matter of just weeks, which is just, it's remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable how fast they just threw this area together, and apparently had enough time left over at the end to create some ludicrously dumb Easter egg locations, which, yeah, Tower B in particular absolutely is. It is just filled with nonsense, so much so you can't even access it from the wasteland. You've got to go via plank or tunnel just to get inside the nonsense location. Still, how about we call it a part there and leave this bit of the world for now. We will be coming back later, but not till the Enclave are actually on the map. I was hoping we might get to trick a couple of them into spawning in today, but apparently it was not meant to be. The Enclave and Junda's Plunkett shall enjoy their party, which I'm sadly not invited to. And next week, well, okay, you know what? I did lie a tiny bit earlier this episode. I said there is no mission that pulls you into this corner of the world, and that's not strictly true. There is precisely one, a very interesting mission that also takes you to one of the strangest locations in all of Fallout 3. So join me next week, and I will explain a bit more. Hopefully you are looking forward to that. But in the meantime, I've been John, this has been Many a True Nerd, and this has been Fallout, Tale of Two Wastelands. Thank you very much, and goodbye. If we just hide the bodies, nobody needs to know about this. Yes! My stupid plan has worked! It turns out I'm a genius! The giant rat scorpion is not gone! Oh, hang on, there's more yet though, I'm still being very shocked. Guys, where's the NCR? Nobody needs to know.